Getting more people to enjoy local beaches has long been part of the strategy to secure environmental gains from the Boston Harbor cleanup. But access to the beaches in other parts of the waterfront can also advance equity and create more public space for an inclusive city. That's also a consideration in the request for proposals by Save the Harbor, Save the Bay to support new summer programming. To tell us about the effort are the group's executive director, Chris Mancini, and the Partnerships and Program Development Director, Maya Smith. I'd like to thank you both very much for being with us.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah.
Thanks, Chris. Glad to be here.
Yeah, glad to have you both aboard. I want to start with Chris Mancini because we went through a period last year where going to the beach, even when you got there, was rather strange and you felt things were more restricted. I expect this year things will be less restricted. So do you have any idea of what that's going to mean?
That's what we expect too. And just like everybody else, we are learning as we go along following the state guidelines. But the thing we're really excited about is that with the vaccine rolling out, with the guidelines opening up, that we will be able to fund events and projects and programs that let people get back together on the beaches. And obviously people were using the beaches last year. They actually became more popular than ever. One of the few things you could do safely was get outside, go to the beach. And we really worked to make sure people knew how to do that responsibly and safely. But we're really looking forward to getting back to putting on events and programs that will make it really fun and give people something to do and remind them that these are your beaches and you can come down and use them anytime.
Maya, what about programs that help get over that age-old pattern that beaches are, they're great for people who live close to them, but, with other people trying to get to them, that could be a problem sometimes. I've seen progress getting over that barrier in Boston in recent decades, but what about this summer? I'm sure you're trying to get more of this to happen during the summer.
Yeah, absolutely, Chris. So what we're trying to do is through the Better Beaches Grant Program in our partnership with the Department of Conservation and Recreation, we are trying to make sure that we are investing money into our community members that haven't always had the easiest access to the harbor, specifically community members of color, community members with disabilities. So we are looking to put on some events and programming specifically trying to get those folks out to the beach. So we actually did a recent public hearing with the Metropolitan Beaches Commission where we are able to hear from the public and hear specifically about diversity, access, and inclusion and what folks want to see. So we heard from the community. They wanted to hear some more music from their culture, have more food from their culture at the harbor. And we're really looking to make sure that that happens through a cultural concert series and some other events that are going to be going on that will have dancing, big parties on the beach, basically safely still, of course, in partnership with DCR to make sure that we have things that people really want to do and making sure that folks know about these opportunities and they're always free in public.
Chris, what does that mean about expanding the notion of what a beach can do for people? Because, I grew up, people say, oh, you got to learn to swim or you got to get a tan. But there are these other things that people can do that are involve neither of those, and right. They're great fun.
Yes, exactly. So we also have a series called Harbor Healing that kind of speaks exactly to that. So that series highlights the things that you can do on the beach that aren't maybe just laying in the sun or swimming, which I love to do both of those things, but they're not huge for everyone. So that really highlights different ways that you can use the beach for self-care and wellness through yoga, meditation, creating maybe scrubs out of the sand and using seaweed and things like that. So we're really trying to show that the beach can be used for a lot of different things and a lot of different fun activities, especially because our community members own the beach. It's a shared ownership. So we want to make sure that there's a way for everyone to utilize the great public space that they all have ownership of.
Chris, what about programs, even last year, some examples of things that can get more people out and maybe, make them feel better about their beach experience?
Yeah, I may have to go back 2 years. Last year, a lot of folks pivoted and found ways to keep the beaches kind of friendly and safe by pivoting to providing hand sanitizer along the walk and revere, and doing smaller events and programs. But we've seen everything from, as Maya said, concerts on the beach, huge beach party and picnics that bring 400 or 500, 600 kids out for a free day to learn how to swim, to learn how to fish, have some food on the beach together. And these run all the way on all the metropolitan beaches, from Nahant and Lind down to Nantasket Beach in Hull, and including all of those in between in Winthrop, East Boston, on Constitution Beach. So we're really looking for what do you want to see? What does the community want to see? And we want to help make that happen. So is it a beach party for all the kids in your neighborhood, or is it a Maya, help me out here. A couple of the other examples.
Yeah.
I think like the Marine Science Festival that Harbor Keepers put on for the past couple of years on Constitution Beach. And we know that not everybody, like you just said, has the same interest. Some people want to go swimming and want to go fishing and touch the water. Some people want to spend time on the sand. Some people are really interested in the science and the ecology. And some people are really interested in arts and humanities. And we think we have a little something from all those areas, whatever's going to inspire people to feel that ownership that we know they already have of the public space. And then, of course, to inspire a generation of stewards who are going to keep taking care of these places so they stay what are now, after a lot of hard work, the cleanest urban beaches in the country here in Boston.
Right. What's the difference here? Because I mean, when people live in the city, sometimes inclusivity can be a challenge. But if you're doing it on a beach, there's a fun program happening, you're having good feelings about that. How does that change people's attitudes about inclusivity?
Yeah, hopefully being able to be in, like I said before, a shared space that is public and everyone has shared ownership of. And getting that sunshine, being able to be near the water kind of gets people into kind of brighter spirits, and being able to share in a group activity that everyone shares the same interests as you, regardless of what neighborhood they might be coming from the beach to, and being able to share in community doing something that you have an interest in, and hopefully we're providing enough options that people will be able to find an activity that they're truly interested in. So,
Chris, what I also see here with this programming is sort of an economic opportunity for some people who might have been sidelined during the pandemic. Do you see that as well?
Yeah, I think the beaches themselves are economic drivers for the towns they're in. And I've always kind of reflected, we're the Bay State, all of these towns are right on the water. And we don't seem to have the same reputation as places like, the Jersey Shore, Coney Island, places that you really think of as iconic, beachfront communities. But we have iconic beachfront communities. Revere is the first public beach in the United States. And Wollaston Beach and Quincy. These places are on the tee. They're easy to get, at least to get close to. Sometimes there's a little disconnect between the tee stop and the half a mile to the actual beachfront, which is one of the things we've heard and are trying to address through some creative wayfinding and transportation solutions. But yeah, that's if you can get they're destinations and they're huge economic drivers for the communities that they're in.
I want to ask you one more thing, Chris, here, because I mean, this is maybe old news in a way, but you would think at first maybe that getting more people to the beaches would create, more demands for services, more money to clean things up afterwards, and so on. But what about preserving harbor quality? The water quality in the harbor. How do more people in the beaches lead to that as a result, or at least you avoid stepping backwards?
Yeah, I mean, my philosophy is that you have people who, it comes back to this concept of ownership for me. Maya and I work at Save the Harbor. We know that these places are owned by everybody. They're public resources, and we know that not everybody feels that ownership. And so I think when you have people, when you feel like this is your beach, that the more people you have that feel that way, you're going to take care of that space better. The water quality, like I said, is for the most part, really on a great track. That was taken care of, through a huge grassroots effort, through a couple of lawsuits that resulted in the construction of the Deer Island sewage treatment plant. And now, we have the plant and the outfall pipe that clean the water really well. And we have resulted in the cleanest urban beaches in the country, especially in South Boston in particular. And, what we're left with is we're still an urban area, and it's almost like that landside aspect. And like you just said, more people means more trash, but also means more people with eyes on that. So, a lot of what we're seeing is neighborhood groups doing small independent beach cleanups. We work directly with the DCR to support those efforts. We bring people out. It's living in a city. It's just a natural result of the winds and the urban area. But the DCR does a great job and work really hard to keep those places maintained. And the more, it's kind of like two sides of the same coin. You're going to have more wear and tear, but you're going to have more care and maintenance at the same time, with that buy-in and that ownership.
Maya, what about another possible benefit here for young people growing up in the city, whether in terms of exposure to the beaches and education, or maybe even some summer jobs?
Yeah, of course. So we have what I think is a phenomenal opportunity for teens to work for us this summer. And we hire 35 local Boston youth to be on small teams and go explore our region's public beaches. So they are in their small teams, they go and they do activities based in ecology and marine science, and learn the history about the biodiversity, and they learn a lot about those beaches, but they also are learning about accessibility and access while they're there as well. They've been learning a lot about Chapter 91 recently and what it means to activate public spaces. So we do have 35 young people that we employ every summer, and we're currently hiring through the City of Boston's Department of Youth Engagement and Employment through their Success Link program. So they have the opportunity to learn a lot about Boston Harbor, and then they actually create activities each week that go up on our virtual Boston Harbor, program that is up on our website, savetheharbor.org. So community organizations or individuals can go check out those activities and go do the things that our teens are doing on the beach themselves as well.
Chris, finally, I know there's just a couple more days left on the request for a proposal period, but if people want some more information about that or anything else happening at the beaches, is there a website they can go to?
Absolutely. Maya just mentioned it, savetheharbor.org, and you'll link to the Better Beaches. You can reach out to Maya or I independently. It's our last names at savetheharbor.org, Smith at savetheharbor.org, Mancini at savetheharbor.org. And we're really a collaborative conversational process here. We want to hear, if you think you've got an idea, send us an email, give us a call, and let's talk it through. Because again, we're trying to respond to what the community wants and what people want to see and have that's going to make you feel that connection and make you feel like this is your beach and you want to be there and share it with other people. We think the best way to save the harbor, as we say, is to share the harbor. So that's what we're trying to do.
Well, thank you very much for getting us to look forward to the summer on the beaches.
Yes, of course.
Thanks so much for having us, Chris.
Good. Right, and that was Chris Mancini and Maya Smith from Save the Harbor, Save the Bay. We'll have more news in just a moment.